Do you want to experience and learn how time is an illusion and also shift into the identity that you truly desire because you know the world mirrors the identity you wear often? And you also want to know how to step out of your old, insecure, and unsatisfying identity? Well, just tune into this riff I shared in a conversation with my friend Vinanti on Instagram Live. So here's an unfiltered excerpt of my riff. So stay tuned and listen in. It's important for us to know what our true desire is. For instance, we think we want the change in our physical appearance. And yes, for some instances, it is true. But for other instances, if you explore deeper, if you just ask yourself, why do you want it? You might see more of your hidden desires. For instance, when I ask myself, why do I want to feel? Or why do I want to look differently? I really wanted to be loved by the people I care about. I wanted to be confident because I wanted to be able to express my opinion, and I wanted others to hear what I'm saying without dismissing me. So those were my major desires, like my relationships and the way I present myself to another person. So let's just say if I didn't have those desires and I just wanted to change my hair because it would be nicer, like let's say I want like super curly hair, then yeah, by itself, then that's a true desire, that there's no other agenda for having it, right? And so we don't feel pressured either when we want it, like when we surrender to the fulfillment of it. So I would really suggest you exploring that and asking yourself what it is that you truly want. And that's why Neville made it so clear for us to share, or for us to experience and to know. And he made this point clear like several times. He always said, God speaks to us through the medium of our basic desires. And what do you truly want? Not like some surface level want, because beyond that surface, there's some other reason for you wanting that thing. And so, yes, you will get that surface level thing, but first you have to address your other hidden desires. Like I did, like when I experienced feeling loved and loving, and I felt confident that my opinions and my views were received, like in college, meaning in my university, that's when my appearance started to change. And without me doing anything, like there's nothing I can do physically to change my eyes or you know yeah, like my skin, the texture of my skin, it changed by itself. And for those asking, like, yeah, I would never get pimples now. Like once in 2 months, I might get like a heat boil, but before, like over the last few years, never. So yeah. And so here's another question somebody asked, and again, a few people asked these questions, similar set of questions. What do we do when our confidence shakes from because of the physical circumstances? What are your thoughts?
I guess you'll have to
okay. Yeah, it's we'll figure that out, that issue, next time for sure. So I feel like when we so instead of thinking that the physical reality is out to get us, if you just see it as feedback, if it's feedback, then it's a gift, right? I'm not trying to tell you, okay, this is a good gift or a bad gift. It's just a gift. It's just feedback. So if I look at it as a feedback and I notice my reactions to my circumstances, then that itself is information about what state I'm in. Now, again, like I mentioned earlier, most of us have this tendency, we'll notice our reactions, like let's say I felt bad about something. Now, what we do is, now we criticize ourselves for feeling bad because we should know better. Like, I know all of this information, why am I not doing it better? That's not helpful. So at some point we have to break that by asking ourselves, okay, what is this moment, in this moment, like whatever, let's say it's happening right in front of us, like what is this situation offering me? Like what is it telling me about my state? That's it. It's not telling me anything about myself, because who you and we all are is love, right? Like indivisible, inseparable, irreducible self, like that cannot be broken, that cannot be destroyed, nothing. So all it's doing is, the situation is showing, okay, you know what, you're not it's not even the situation, it's the reactions to the situation that's showing what state we are in. Because the situation that we're seeing anyway is a part of the past, right? Like a bad grade on your report card is already a part of the past. It's not present. And a bad, unloving, or like, this very abrupt text from somebody you love, it's already a part of the past. But once you notice your reactions, once I notice my reactions to the message, then how am I behaving? Am I allowing myself to notice them? And the best way to do is to just allow yourself to feel the reaction, because that way you're not pushing against them. You're not being like, oh my God, let me kick it aside. Nothing. Now I'm just allowing myself to see from the perspective of an observer, right? And that's where Neville's first principle comes in, which is be still and know that I am God. Or replace the word God with whatever word works for you. The words are not important. It's the experience, right? Because when we skip that step, the first principle, and we just go straight into, oh, let me go and change my state using that technique. No, I have to use the technique. So I need to change my state. I can't observe my reactions. So now what we are asserting, and actually, let's say we are asserting, affirming, we are confirming, is that, oh, I am judging my state, so that the state that I'm judging is going to continue. And it'll only look like we are in our desired state, but actually we're just pushing that unwanted state down, like stuffing an already stuffed bag, or treating the wound instead of treating the infection. So you're just piling all of that stuff up, and it's looking very neat on the surface, but underneath, the actual state is still of, oh no, I'm not really loved. Like, I know I'm not really loved, but I'm going to try and make sure I assume that I'm loved. So, and it creates this desire to have, discipline or willpower. But that's, again, a form of just pushing against something, instead of just relaxing and seeing, okay, this is what I experienced. I can feel all my emotions. There's nothing wrong with feeling them. And then surrendering to a new state. And the way we surrender to a new state, the way I like playing with it, is by asking myself, well, what would my friend say? Because I don't really like hearing my own voice, because it might not always sound very real. So when I hear your voice, like I know your voice, right? Like, for instance, I know you like stationery. So for instance, if you send me like randomly like a stationery meme, I know we are great friends, right? If you were, let's say, if I knew you were upset with me, you're not going to send me a stationery meme. Or if you were truly upset with me, or angry, or, didn't want to talk to me, you're not going to send me like a stationery picture. So something that's natural, I would say, like, feel or experience or hear something that's natural to your friend can just be a word a lot of times I just enjoy hearing people laugh. And I don't mean like crazy laugh. It's just, you can feel somebody smile. Like I can see Vinanti smile. So I know how it feels, right? It's not, I'm not a robot in this moment. Like it elicits some feeling. And again, feeling doesn't mean, like a really grand and oh, I'm on top of the mountain. Look at me, I have my desires. No, no, no. It's just the feeling of relief, the feeling of ease. In fact, I asked our audience on my Instagram page, the Vibe Project org, what they'd feel if they knew they had their desires. Like, what is that feeling, right? The first thing that comes to mind. No perfect answers. Like, I'm not even looking for the perfect answer. So a lot of, people gave variation of the same terms. And the words they used were, relief, ease, satisfaction. Oh, it was neutral, as though nothing is missing. Like calm. Just supernatural, like as though it's a part and parcel of my day. Contentment. Those were the words you guys gave, like if you were on my Instagram story. So you didn't say, oh my God, I was like jumping across the rooftop. It was because it's natural. It's a natural part of your life. Like right now, I'm holding my phone in my hand. I don't feel anything special except that my hand is stretched. That's it. It feels like a normal, regular, you can even say neutral part of me, but I'm not resisting it. I'm not pushing against it. I don't have any feeling of there's something missing. So I would also notice what would, the qualities that are present when you're feeling fulfilled. Like you can't find anything that's missing in this moment. You're not searching for, like texts. You're not searching for, okay, I want my friend to say this. I want my partner to say this. I want that person I so admire to say this. They have to say this. No, there's no urgency. It's just, you just are, right? There's no, we don't judge in those moments. We're just kind of surrendering. Another question somebody asked is, is changing state simply mean changing attitude? Actually, yeah, it is. Whatever word resonates with like so you can call it a state, you can call it an outfit, you can call it a, dress, you can call it an attitude, you can call it an identity, you can call it whatever, stepping into a role, an actor, whatever symbolizes any of these words is the same thing, whatever, makes the most sense, because an attitude in itself is whole, right? Like you can't be confident and insecure at the same time about the same topic. You can either be, really secure about being a loving partner, or you're insecure, but you can't be both. So those are just two different states. And again, some other people ask, time is an illusion. Time being an illusion, what are my thoughts on it? I'd say instead of thinking there's a time, I would ask you to look at an actual clock and point out where now exists on the clock. Where if you took a watch, tell me where is now? It doesn't actually exist, right? Like there's no, the watch cannot capture now. That's what I mean. So now is all there is. It's so interesting. What is actually present in the moment, the watch cannot capture. It's capturing 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and now 6:45 p.m. in India. But this moment, it cannot capture. It has no reading. It has no reading. So if you just see that the concept of time doesn't exist other than us speaking in words, right? Like it's helpful to say, okay, Vinanti, we'll meet at 6 p.m. for this live. So it's helpful only for referring to certain physical moments. But if you just truly look at, this moment, there's no such thing as 6:45 p.m. It's always now. It's always now. And if I asked you again, when does now begin? What's your answer? You can't tell me. When did now begin? Okay, let's say, when does now end? So you tell me, when are your desires available? Now. Now. Not because there is no tomorrow, there is no next moment. And yeah, I understand that it's not always easy to see that, right? Because we're so used to seeing the clock. And now the idea is not to see the watch. It's to realize how evident this moment is, yet because we're so used to overlooking it, ignoring it, we think we need to fill it up with, let's say, techniques, something to do, instead of realizing, holy shit, this moment is actually infinite. So everything must exist in this moment. So all realities exist in this moment. So everything I want, including something really, really specific, it doesn't matter if it's a person, thing, or a place, exists in this moment, right? And I think that itself is very relieving to experience. And once you can, again, when I feel the relief of this moment, I've already noticed that I'm fulfilled, right? Because I just through my own power of understanding, right? I don't mean by my words, through my own experience of understanding, I saw that, so there's nothing before now, there's nothing after now. So everything is in this moment. That means, is there anything for me to run after? No. Is there anything for me to hold on to? No. And so everything I want is right here. So what is this moment offering me? If I truly see, then I notice that, oh, wait, I actually feel relieved, because now I don't have to do the techniques 100 times. I don't have to follow what anybody else is saying, like 3 times a day, 2 times a day, nothing. Because everything I want is right now. So I'm already feeling fulfilled. So if I'm feeling fulfilled, then naturally my world has to reflect that fulfillment, right? There's nothing that is holding me back from experiencing that. Because in this moment, I just, in our conversation, obviously it's not the words, it's even how I'm feeling right now. I truly cannot find anything that's missing. Like, where's the lack now? Where's the lack? Tell me, how many techniques do you have to do to realize this? Now, even if you choose to do some technique, like let's say you choose to imagine, that the word gets used a lot. So let's say you choose to visualize a scene, or hear something, or change your inner conversation, or even affirm. Now, isn't it fun? And if it's fun, then you should be doing it only when it's fun, not to make something happen. And a lot of us, I can guarantee you, we won't be doing any of these techniques when we just realize this. Because if I truly asked a really happy person, like if you're truly happy, Vinanti, for instance, just like hypothetically, I'll say, Vinanti, come, let's visualize or construct a scene like about you traveling somewhere else. You'll just be like, but Anila, I'm having so much fun. Just we'll do it later. Or imagine if I say again, like, but Vinanti, come, let's just affirm that you manifested that other trip. You'd be like, but Anila, I'm just having so much fun. Like, do it later. So you're already enjoying. We never do these, hardly ever do techniques when we're enjoying. We're already just having fun, like feeling fulfilled. And naturally, the side effects are having a wonderful life, not just seeing material manifestations like the objects, places, or people, yes, specific people, but even our mood, like the way our body, talks to another person, the way we move through the world, the way we see everybody and everything, and even how our compassion, like how compassionate we are towards other people, it changes. I truly feel like it makes such a big difference. And then we lose the ability to criticize other people. Isn't that the biggest blessing? You imagine if I could never criticize another person, then that could only happen because I know that the other person and I are one. So naturally, they'll always be reflecting what I truly desire. And there'll be no sense or this feeling of, okay, I need to control this. I need to be doing this to control. I need to be on top of my game. Okay, Vinanti, let's be on top of our manifesting game. No, there's nothing to be on top of. There are no levels. There's just this moment. And so somebody asked here, as well as in your questions, circumstances are really hard to ignore. I would say don't ignore them. Their feedback. Like okay, if you want context, if somebody is like giving you a slap, are you going to ignore, or you're going to like see that you're getting slapped on your face, and then okay, you'll step back and you'll observe it. You'll just wonder, okay, fine, that's how they're behaving, but how do I want to react? And if I'm really upset or angry or frustrated in that moment, then how do I want to react to my reactions? That's the most important thing. So there's nothing you need to remind yourself daily. I would say don't ignore anything that's coming up, because that's feedback. It's not good or bad feedback. It's just feedback. So instead of, I'm sure you've heard, it's not failure, it's just feedback. What if it was actually feedback? Seriously, if you can give yourself like 1 minute permission to see its feedback, how long are we going to spend criticizing that moment? We'll like move past it, because we'll realize that anything that we rehash is actually not happening right now, but it took place in the morning, or 3 days ago, or 10 seconds ago, right? Like even you losing audio, right? It happened then. But my reactions to this moment is everything, is what creates my future life experiences. And to continue on states, somebody again asked about like money or finances. I made a quick YouTube video on my channel, and I'll share the question really quick. Like, so if money was a person, how would you treat it? Now you can get all like like wisecrack and say, well, money is not a person. No, I'm asking you, if it was a person, how are you going to treat it? Or if money was your best friend, how are you going to treat it? Are you going to ignore it? Are you going to blame it for everything? Are you going to be like, oh my God, you're the bane of my existence, why are you only with a few people? In fact, when money is like, dude, I want to spend time with you, why are you not giving me a chance? Like, why are you putting all of your assumptions and so much uh, like so much ignorance and like this frustration on me? Like, that's not fair, right? So I would say play with that. And you can actually do that with love. What if love was a person? Then how are you going to treat it? Are you going to sit and affirm like love is like, let's hang out, and you're like, no, 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 let me do that one more imaginal act, let me affirm once more, and then let me also hear different conversations. And love is like, dude, I want to hang out with you, are you ready or not? And I'm only giving this not to make fun of anybody, obviously, but for us to just see that we can see things from a different perspective. It doesn't always have to be the set view. And what questions allow us to do mostly is they're an invitation. They're not strict. They're not, a question never says, oh my God, you better do it this way or you're ruined, or you're ruining all your desires from coming true. A question is an invitation. Now you can give yourself permission to actually feel the truth and the acceptance of our desires. And you know, someone asked how to have faith, and I am combining, you know, different questions, but that's also how you have faith. And faith is not just acceptance of what is positive, right? Or faith is not just acceptance of a desired reality. I can have faith that an undesired reality is also going to manifest. That's also faith. It's just, which reality am I surrendering to? So faith is not something you develop. It's for you to notice that we already have. We've been having faith in imperfections. So imperfections show up. We had, let's say we had faith that even though, you know, faith is usually a more optimistic word, but we had faith that, yeah, that person is going to say something negative, or something, you know, they're going to dismiss us. We had faith that they were going to be dismissive, and so they did. We had faith that we were going to be unloved, so different people played that role, or maybe just one person, that person who you are wondering why is that one person like that, that's what they do, right? We had faith. So you're always having faith. Just notice how you've been already having faith. That's the same, in other words, notice how you've always been manifesting, even the imperfect moments. Because I'm not somebody personally who says, oh, don't notice what you call, like, you know, what you once called failures. No, notice those, because you'll see how you gave life to them. Like, maybe you accepted the doubt, right? Because it's not the doubt itself, it's the acceptance of the doubt. Maybe you accepted failure, because it's not failure itself that creates our experience, it's the acceptance of the failure. That, okay, failure is my truth, then yeah, that's what the world mirrors back to us. So instead of ignoring anything, I would say just look at all of them as feedback. And I'm only saying this because we watch movies all the time, yet we don't get affected by it. We'll shed a few tears in the movie. You might even curse at somebody in the movie, but after the movie is over, you come out and you're like, oh yeah, the villain, the super villain acted really well. Man, they had me at that point. I thought they were going to be doomed. So you're just viewing all the scenes in the movie. You're not doing anything to criticize. Like, yes, there are critics, but you're not personally involved in the movie. Like, you're not entangled in the story. Now you're just looking like an observer, right? at the movie. And that's how I would say view your circumstances, like you're viewing a movie. It's not good or bad, forget the labels, it just is. And what is it reflecting to you? That, that I think that's the one of the biggest things. And this is exactly like, as we were discussing, this is how you move out of the state of lack or doubt and trust that this moment we're already fulfilled. Because if you haven't listened to a few minutes before, you can, I just showed people that, like showed everybody here, that there's nothing apart from this moment, and our fulfillment is not tomorrow. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm manifesting this by tomorrow. No, it's already here. It's already instant. It's already now. So, and then you can see that there is nothing that's lacking, or there's nothing to doubt in this moment. And this is how you go beyond time, beyond action. Like, action is natural now, isn't it? For instance, I came onto this live and I felt like, first I messaged Vinanthi saying, hey, I'll see you in a few minutes. That was so automatic. I didn't have to think about, oh, should I say this to Vinanthi? If I put an extra eye and an extra emoji, I wonder how she'll respond. And nothing, it was so automatic. Our actions are always automatic, and they're always inspired by the state we're in, like always. If I'm insecure, yes, my actions will be, okay, let me cling on to this person. Let me overtext. Let me make sure that they're doing this. So let me like coyly post some, post on whatever social media you use, and maybe they'll see it and they'll like it. All those are inspired. All those actions are inspired by our insecure state. Again, it's not about judging. It's just, you're seeing it. All we're doing is we're watching it like a movie. Oh, okay. So action is inspired by the state we're in. That's it. So you transcend physical action and time by realizing that when you're surrendered to this moment, then naturally your actions reflect the fulfillment of this moment and nothing else, right? What else can it reflect? I won't have a bone in my body where I'll feel like, okay, now I need to go and give that person a piece of my mind with such, vengeance. Nothing. I would truly be devoid of judgment, of frustration, of anger, of anything less than love would fade away. So naturally, in my actions, it can be a big action, it can be a small action, it doesn't matter. I can just be sitting perfectly still, and not just my actions will change. Naturally, the people in my world will have and display different behavior. Like, people who you thought would never talk to you will come up to you and talk, and you'll just be like, what? Oh, like, you want to hang out with me? Like, sure. And for a moment, you might even falter and wonder what's happening, and then you'll quickly recover and you'll enjoy that moment. And yes, even the people you once loved, like specifically, their behavior changes too. And you'll find them reaching out to you in the weirdest of places. Like, maybe they'll reply to your Instagram story. Maybe they'll ask a friend about you. And now I'm just giving you a few examples. Obviously, none of it is restricted to these examples, but you have no idea. And then you'll wonder, that's so strange. That's so out of the blue. How did that happen? Because the path was so unplanned that it was, when you look back, it's actually blowing your mind. Even a little bit. Yes, it does. A little bit. It does. We can convince ourselves, oh no, it didn't. But you look back and you're like, wait a second. I didn't even know that person will talk to that person, and then they'll offer me this position. Like, how did that happen? Even if you plan it, sometimes it doesn't happen, right? We can make the best of plans and it doesn't happen. But then if you just surrender to our wish fulfilled, we give ourselves the opportunities to be continuously surprised. At least that's how I look at this moment, you know. And you know, and somebody else also asked, and I think this is one of the last questions, because I addressed most of the questions, all of them. If it's about desires, if you desire something, you were meant to desire it, right? Question mark. It's part of your path? Question mark. So I understand that when people ask this question, even when I used to ask this, it's coming from a place of like, okay, can you confirm it, please? Like, can you give me a little bit of confirmation? And I can tell you yes, but if you're depending on my word, now you've just made me a crutch, because you are not feeling fulfilled by yourself. What you're doing is, okay, you're hearing my word that I said, okay, yes, you're meant to have everything. And now, instead of kind of tuning into the fulfillment after hearing my words, what mostly happens to most of us is we'll hear the words and we're like, no, that person said we're meant to have our desires. I know I'm meant to have my desire. I'm meant to have my desire. So it becomes less of actually accepting it as the truth and more of slyly convincing ourselves, but not actually convinced. So it becomes more like a head game rather than a being game, you know. And I've been there, like, oh, this here it said in this one line, I can have anything I want. Look, I can have anything I want, right? And so it's not useful, because now we don't even convince ourselves. Now we try to convince another person if we see them post something different. Now we'll see them post something different and we'll be like, no, I need to convince them that what they're saying is not true. Let me go and enter my thoughts from that unconvinced state, because I need to convince them and they need to agree, or they should not be posting whatever they're posting on whichever social media, right? And it's not even social media. We do this even in person, even in a conference, at work, in friendships. No, let me make sure they understand me. They have to understand. Why is there a need? It only comes from a place of it comes from a place of wanting approval, but not acknowledging that we want approval. We'll mask that feeling by saying things like, no, I was just curious. By the way, I'm not criticizing anyone, I hope you know. I'm just saying, because this is what I would do. I would also hide behind, no, I was just like wondering. No, but I thought it was very interesting, so I was wondering. So even in my answers, I was actually hiding the truth. I was not completely true. And so one of the main things is, you know, I hope that you can give yourself permission to be truthful. If not to anybody else, just to be towards you. If you feel like by being true towards you in your head feels too hard, if you want to write whatever feels true, like for instance, it doesn't matter what feels true in that moment. Just if you want to write it, you can, because now you're just watching it like a movie. You're not trying to force feed yourself anything. You're not trying to convince anything. And then you can let go of that movie. Like happily let go. Like you just finished the movie, cool, next. Like what's on the next episode, or what's in the next movie on Netflix, right? So yeah, I hope it answered you guys' questions. And next time, Vinanthi, we have to figure out a way for you to get to talk, because I don't understand why. I think maybe your walls are also talking. That's why there's like a Vinanthi in the wall. So, okay, guys, it was amazing being here. And the only reason Vinanthi can't come, yes, feelings are like visitors. Yeah, that's a great way of seeing. So are thoughts. If you actually truly respect that a thought and a feeling is a visitor, you will not force them to stay. You will not force them to kick them out. We will never kick out our guests, the ones we like. But I'm saying all guests, okay? Let's just say it's a neutral guest.
So if you enjoyed this riff, be sure to subscribe to our channel and also sign up for my bi-weekly Unlabel Me Collective e-letter, where you'll get reality bending tips and lots of exciting stuff for you, because we're announcing a few new things in my next video as well as in the emails. So stay tuned. I'll catch you next time.